Yes, welcome. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Hybrid Radio Podcast. Thank you. I'll let you guys cheer for a while I have a snap over here. I've never seen people so excited about me eating food before. But thank you. Welcome to the Hybrid Radio Podcast. Delicious egg rolls I'm eating right now. Sorry about that. I'm your host, Jarrell. And with me is my co-host, Snarky Mark. What's up, Snarky Mark?
Hey, what's going on?
Snarky Mark and I, as you can hear from our voices, don't have the energy that we normally have, but we are trying our best to bring it in for you guys and make sure you guys have an excellent show, because that's what I'm all about. Quality in our shows and quality in the albums we review as well, because we have some great albums we're talking about this week. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I really think this one will be like all high ratings, all three of them. What do we got today? We got the three albums we're doing is the latest one from Gorillaz. The experimental dance group out there. Everybody likes them, right, guys? You love the Gorillaz? Yes, they're really excited for that, because that review has been waiting, because everybody once they said they had an album coming out, everyone was like, "Oh my god, Gorillaz album! Can't wait!" Especially you, Mark, because Mark's a big fan of them.
Huge.
So, Mark's gonna.
I've got my fucking shirt on.
You wearing the Gorillaz shirt today? It's got a G on it.
They might be Giants.
Oh, close enough. Gorillaz, Giants, same thing.
Yeah, whatever.
Also, let's not overshadow the other groups. We're doing for all you youngsters out there, the latest album from New Found Glory. For all you pop punk fans out there, we're gonna review that album. And just because we're a couple old geezers doesn't mean we don't get down with like the kiddie, mall punk. We like that stuff too.
We get down with them.
Yes.
Please, cops, don't come. We don't really get down with teenagers.
Not sexually, but we just like that stuff. Also, we are gonna do some metalcore, Mark's favorite genre of metal.
Can't wait.
The latest from All That Remains. We'll be reviewing that album as well. So a triple threat for you. 3 albums to review. Also, we are going to have a couple news stories for you, mostly about concerts, stuff like that. One story we actually had on the from last week, but since our last show was so jam-packed with interviews and emails, stuff like that, I figured we'll just post it to next week, because maybe people will still be interested in hearing about it.
Yeah.
And also another topic we'll be talking about is kind of new and hits closer to home at a venue that I went to a couple months ago. They had a little incident that happened there. We'll talk about that show. And then we'll also have some nice, fun, sit-down conversation about how our weeks were. And I was just talking to Mark earlier. This might be our last show, because next week is Mother's Day, so we won't be doing a show. That is the holiest of days, especially for my mother. I don't know about yours. But I have to, have the whole day cleared and do everything I can with her, at least until 2 o'clock when I go to the Metallica concert. So she got half the day at least.
Oh, that's on that same day.
Yeah, they were very considerate booking a show on Mother's Day. But what does Metallica not have any mothers? I don't know, but who knows? So
you got a tour.
Yeah, you got to do the day on day. So I bet they're hoping all the mothers, are Metallica fans and want to go see them show. But that's the other reason. My wife actually is a mother.
Can we bet on the fact that they may say it's Motherfuckers Day?
That's a good bet. I actually will. What do you want to bet on that?
I don't know. Nothing.
Okay, I'm just a friendly bet. Yeah,
I
bet they will do that. And so I'll be at that show with my wife, who's the other reason is she is now 8.5 months pregnant. So baby could be coming any day now. We finally not only are coping with the fact that is coming, and we're gonna have to adjust our lives to that. But we finally decided on a name last night.
You did?
Yes. So, which is kind of funny, because we had 2 names we were going with, and then once Mark told me that we had Marcus, but when I realized that short for Mark, I'm like, I don't know if I want to have the same name. I hear your name enough, my friend. I hear your name enough, so I don't know if I want to hear it 2 times. But I'm saying it to my kid, because especially if I'm calling Mark and you both look at me like, who broke this? And it's like, I don't know who did it.
Yeah, me and the kid both look up. Huh? What's going on, Pop?
Because I am your father, both of you. No, so that name has been pushed to number 4 on the list, and our top name that we just get the big baby book and read names, and then eventually pick one, you know, that we're like, all right, we'll go with that. They got names like, his book's got names for, like, you know, superhero characters, thing like that. Which you think it would be like, you know, oh, can we call it, like, you know, Daredevil, you know, my last name like that? But it's like, no, it's like got like their origin names, like Bruce, blah, 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 or something weird. But nope, not going with that. No spikes, anything like that. Just finally got the name down. I'll unveil it to you guys when we come back, because it's a big. I like to keep the audience in suspense on the edge of their seats.
And there may be a last minute.
Yeah, I might be driving down the street and see like a billboard. I'm like, oh my God, U-turn. We'll call him that. You know, my favorite character from the show Weeds.
U-turn.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. So, but if we do have a show, there'll be only one more before that. So, all you guys out there, I will mention at the end how you can still get in touch with us if you want to send an email after the fact. Yeah, so that's basically all my introduction for you guys here. So, before we get into like the news thing, let's talk a little bit about, you know, our week. So, Mark, how was your week? What did you get into?
Oh man, I think I had a really boring one.
Oh, mine is complete opposite, I guess. Or what I like to do when my week is boring is try to spin it and pick every minute detail and blow it up and make it more sensationalized than it really is. But let's see if you can do the same thing while I sip on my Captain Morgan and Coke to help keep me awake for your riveting tale.
Oh man, it's going to be so exciting. Yeah, this week I got into some real fucking shenanigans, bro. You know,
no, he's serious, guys.
Dinner every night. You know, we made a point not to go out and get food anywhere all week. So, like, my cooking game was 100. I was, you know, on fleek.
You're fleeking. Okay, you're cooking. You're cooking eyelashes all week. Is that what you're saying?
Fuck yeah, bro.
What'd you have? Anything good? Get some ideas. You like the crock pot, or you were just on the stove?
I did use the crock pot this week. Actually,
nice.
I made some pot roast in the crock pot. Yeah, what the fuck else did I make?
My mouth is watering on the mic as we speak. I'm a fan of the the soy sauce and honey, like chicken, blah blah. That's really good.
That's some good shit too. No, just regular shit. You know, I made some chili. Working. Last week I made chili, and so I still had some leftover chili for chili dogs, and you know, made some fucking teriyaki chicken one night.
That's kind of close to what teriyaki sauce with the soy sauce. That's really good, yeah.
You want to hear about the rest of the...
Let's move on from the food and let's find out what else you did.
Fucking nothing, man. Nothing? This week was real boring. I don't think I did anything.
Because I'm surprised. You know, this last Friday was the infamous Cinco de Mayo, or as Trump called it, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. I didn't do anything for Cinco de Mayo. I haven't done anything this weekend. It was real boring.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you'll pick things up as the week goes on. And maybe it's because your allergies you were talking about before we started recording really got you down in the dumps. So if Claritin, if you want to actually sponsor our show, I'll actually tell Mark what he should take.
Yeah, let me know.
So for me, actually, I want to actually start this week on my stories on, like, you know, get the whole sad stuff out the way first. Because last Thursday, I attended a wake of one of my good friends from high school. He passed away the week before. His name Jesse Silva, and it was kind of a sudden heart failure he had. He was in a coma for a couple of days, and then he ended up going. What was weird about it was he doesn't go on Facebook that often. So the only time I know what he's up to is when people tag him and stuff. And I saw him that he likes to go snowboarding, like in Stowe, Vermont, or Maine, other place like that. And I saw that pictures of him there, and I'm like, man, like, I would really like to hang out with him. I don't know how to snowboard. I haven't skied in like 20 years, but just to hang out with him, he's always a person that's always fun to be around, and always, we're gonna have a good time when you're with him. And I think that a lot of people that came out to his wake anyway, like, was people that posting on his Facebook were saying, like, you know, saying things about him. So he was definitely a person that attracted a lot of friends. He was a bartender, so people that he worked at, whether it was Applebee's or Fridays or the place he was at before, you know, he met friends from there. Friends from high school came out. You know, family was there. So yeah, it was like, you know, I last saw him 3 years ago, and he was nice enough to like, oh, how you doing? I was actually at a party for another friend's, or a birthday party celebration, and he was at the bar, so we weren't there with him. We were at a table, and I would come over, order drinks, and go back. And he was like, "Oh, first LIT's on me." So it's like I haven't seen this guy in like 2 years at that point, and he's still nice enough to buy me a drink on the first thing. Like he's a nice guy. So I was like, one of the things I remember about him, and also all the other antics and shenanigans we got into when we were younger, stuff like that, runs through your mind when that stuff happens. You think about the last time you saw him, think about the first time you met him, and you think about every like little, whether it's a song that or a movie. I was watching an episode of The Simpsons and remember laughing about a specific scene with him and stuff like that. It was just like, because for me, like I never like had someone that passed away that really changed my life. Like I have uncles and grandfathers and grandmothers and stuff like that you knew they were going, but I wasn't like interacting with them a lot to like oh wow, my life's gonna be so different now. And with Jesse, like I wasn't seeing him in 3 years, so my life's still the same. But he's the only person that I had that like cliche thought of like, man, I wish I had 5 more minutes to talk to him.
Yeah, like
that never happened with anyone else but him. And it was just like, so like I go to the wake and then like I run into like people I haven't seen in a long time, know. And it's like weird because it's like I'm not sure if it's like first I was like weddings and funerals seem like the only time when people you haven't seen in a long time you'll see them again and you're like, oh, why are we only connecting during these situations?
Yeah,
but I think weddings are not so much because people will get wedding invitations like, oh, I don't feel like going to that, and they won't. But then when it's like something like this, she's like, man, like I got to go because I got to pay my respects.
Yeah.
So you're seeing like run into people and they're saying like the things like, oh, we should like hang out like more often, and it's not going to happen. That's the sad thing. It's like people throw that like that cliche thing around like we should hang out, and it's like, but I'm thinking to myself after that happened, I saw one friend there, I'm like, I'm going to make an effort to spend more time with this person because when he moved, because you guys out there who listen to the show who aren't from New Jersey, people say they live in a town and you're like, you assume it's fucking far because you never fucking heard of it. But there's so many towns in New Jersey, but my friend moved to some town and I was like, well, when I read that you moved there, that's why I figured, well, he's gone. You might as well be in China. But it turns out like the place is only 30 minutes away from me. And he's like, oh, I work in Branchburg. I'm like, I work in Branchburg. We should have lunch. So I'm like, let's try that first and see how it works before we start doing the whole play date thing. Because he's got wife, 2 kids. I got a wife and 2 kids. Another friend that came had a wife and 2 kids. I'm like, yeah, we could start hanging out and be like dads now, like doing that like lame shit, Yeah. So thought about that. You seeing all your friends now, they have kids too. Like the one thing I don't go to a lot of these things, Mark. I'll say this was hard to do, but I kept saying to myself driving there, like, I don't want to say when I run into someone like their mom or dad or whatever like that, and then to say that, oh, how are you doing? It's like I gotta not say that because it's like it's so hard to like not say that.
I catch myself doing that all the time in situations like that.
Yeah, and people were actually doing that, and they would say things like, I've been better or good under these circumstances, So I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one. Mm-hmm. So I was psyching myself up not to say it so much for nothing. And then the other thing that's interesting about it is I knew that when I got there and saw like his body, that was when I was going to like just weep because like then it was like going to be real, like he's really gone. And then I had a plan, like I bought this is a funny story. I bought his CDs like 9 years ago to start our radio station. And he's like, I was like, I'm starting a radio station. Like, oh, I have some CDs you want to borrow. So he lent me all these CDs, like Smashing Pumpkins and their side products, stuff like that, and everything else. And then I remember, like, oh, I should bring him to the thing and ask if I could put it in his casket, like sort of like I'm giving him back to him. Spent the whole week looking for them shits, and I could not find them. And then I was looking, I'm like, you know what? I think I gave him back to him already. I just don't remember. I don't remember that. It can't if it turns up, then I'm wrong, but because I can't pinpoint this moment happening. And then when I got there, he was already cremated anyway, so it wouldn't have worked. So, he was just. And then what the thing about that is, not seeing his body now, I'm like in denial again.
There's a conspiracy.
And then what's funny about that? I thought to myself, like, if this is all a ruse, I would not even be mad at him just to know that he's still alive. That's what. And I was like, I don't know if that's weird to say or think, but like, it's just like that's how much I wish he was still around. So that was actually the bummer of my week. I know I'm sure you've come across that kind of stuff too, but I think I'm gonna be all right, and I'm hoping we can actually do like a little tribute to him when our good friend Big League Stu knew him just as well as I did.
Oh yeah.
And when I see him again, we'll talk about what we can do for him. So that was the down stuff. So let's bring the audience up again with some good things. So speaking of that, I actually going through pictures with him and seeing how much crazy stuff we got into being youngsters and stuff like that. And one of the things I'm happy about is that all the shit we got into and stuff we did, I'm really thankful that there was no YouTube back then. Because as much as I give kids shit now that they put everything on YouTube and expose themselves to get in trouble, like I'm thinking we would have been just as bad, but I'm happy it didn't exist. But I'm at the same time like I wasn't that stupid. And the case is because at my second job this week, I work a second job at a retail convenience store. I will actually give them the name when I finally quit the job. That's how we do things on the show. We blast places when we're gone, just in case they're listening to our infamous podcast and want to give us shit. Working one night or Friday night, and then all of a sudden, fucking kids throw a fucking firecracker into like the store. Like,
really?
Yeah, they walk in, or I didn't see them, but they come around, they harass the manager and stuff like that because she's like a bigger, and she yelled at them all the time. So kids, I feel like disrespectful kids anyway that live in rich towns, they like when you yell at them, they just laugh and they think it's hilarious, and it makes you madder and madder, you know. So I'm trying to figure out a way to counterattack that, but my best way is I don't give a shit about my jobs, and I have this really lethargic attitude that you probably heard. So like, they hate her and like, oh, this guy's cool, like, you know, he doesn't yell at us like her, and then they leave, come back, and she yelled at them. They're skateboarding in the store, or riding their mountain bikes out the store, and I'm like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. And then when I'm talking to the customer, and all of a sudden you hear it, and then fucking firework just flies through like into like the hair, like tampon, like hair aisle, like that. And then she's like, what the hell was that? And we're like, oh, I'm like, oh, those kids do a firework in here. Like, I just acted like it was just like, why would I be shocked? Like every day thing, oh, they threw a firework in here. And by the time she got there, they were gone. And then when the customers said, like, you know, oh, I saw them, like, one had this on and one had that on. So we called the cops, whatever, like that. And she said, and then one of them was carrying a tripod. So I knew, like, I bet these motherfuckers put this shit on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure enough, the next day when I came in, the store manager said that's what happened. I texted my wife, like, see if you could find, like, you know, put our town and, like, you know, the store I'm at, and then fireworks, see what comes up. Finds the clip. I watched their video. I'm a little jealous they have like 200 something subscribers. We don't, but I figured kids just talk to each other and how they get all the subscriptions up. But whole videos them you know, saying their names and going terrorizing people in the streets and stuff like that.
Saying their names.
Yeah, they say their names like,
my name is John.
Yeah, this is my address. This is how you spell my name. Blah blah blah. What are you gonna do today? Blah blah. And it's, what are you gonna do today, Nick? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna do this, Michael. And then they go ring people's doorbells. And then when they come out, they like, oh, is someone such at home? Like, no, okay. And then the person goes in the house and they scream something and run away. And when cars are coming up, they're just standing in front of the cars, like yelling at them, like as people are trying to come home from work. And they don't even. And from what the cut I see, they don't even like do anything. Probably the people in the car. Ugh, fucking crazy kids in this rich town we live in. Oh, well, let me get home and have my martini and blah, 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 and watch my 70-inch TV and not care. And then at the end of the video, they show that part when they threw the firecracker in and ran away. And then it ends there because they probably cut it. So I was like, you know, I recognized one of the girls in that video. She wasn't actually in the scene, but I was thinking to myself, next time I see her, I want to pull some like good cop, bad cop shit on her, you know, and say, I know what you did. You don't want to get in trouble, do you? You know, come on, just give us people's names like that. You know,
you done fucked up, right?
Yeah, no, I said I wasn't there at the time. I said I was there at 5. No, so I want to get them good like that. So what do you think about like your whole thing about, you know, kids today? You know, because we're not talking to you millennials out there. We're talking about people who weren't lucky enough to be born in the late 1900s, like all of us.
Yeah,
we're talking about these fucking kids that are like, they look like they were like easily like. Barely freshmen. They definitely could have been middle schoolers, but
yeah,
ranting a lot. Let me get sick with this as you talk.
How do I feel about that? I've always hated kids like that. Even when I was that age,
privileged assholes. That's what I hate. Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's one thing in like causing chaos as a kid. You know, like there's always going to be a little element of that, I think, but yeah, like if they're, you know, I can picture exactly the kind of kids that you're talking about, and I already hate them. Yeah. white kids, no problems. Their parents just ignore them, so they fucking act out in public and think that they're funny.
And they can afford all these like high-tech cameras and shit like that because they're the same kids that came in and bought all the camera stuff. So this was all a plan all along. So they probably come every Friday night. I'm thinking I want to get their asses next time. Like, now I fucking care. Because it's like, not that anyone got hurt, or if someone did, then it's more of a principle of the matter. So that's why I'm like, how do I have a whole week to plan my ruse, how to catch these motherfuckers and just like, get the cops on them and get them banned from the store. That's really all I want, because one of the problems of working at these kind of places in a town where there's nothing for kids to do is except for come to the store 5 or 6 times and buy something and leave. I'm not looking forward to that this summer, because every summer it's the same shit. Go to the pool, come back, get a drink and like some candy, leave. Go to the basketball court, come back, just get everything at once. Fuck, why are you gonna come here 8 times? Like when I was a kid, I went to the convenience store once and left. I don't want to go there 18 times. Like what? Am I that bored?
I know what you do. All right, classic. You get a joy buzzer, and you pretend like you're gonna be their friend. And when you go to shake their hands, zap! That's when you get them.
Oh, joke's on them, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you laughing? It's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. So I'll do that. As the stories in my life get a little more positive, they're gonna go back down again, because today I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 today. See that movie yet, or you have any interest in seeing it? Guardians?
Yes. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
Sucked. But actually didn't. I'll say it was not worth the theater. It wasn't worth the $20 for me and my wife's date, consisting of a matinee film and Popeyes. But Popeyes was actually better than Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
See, you're making me sad.
I'm sorry. They just focused too much on having lame jokes, and the story wasn't good. But if that was the point, because they're trying to go for this whole retro thing, and if it's supposed to be corny, but it would have been good if it came out 30 years ago, then I guess it was okay. But I don't know. I don't like when the humor is so self-aware. I don't know if that's the best thing to say. Like when it's self-aware and that it is bad.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. So yeah. So what you're usually a movie dude. You haven't seen any movies this week?
Dude, I didn't see shit. This week went by real fast. I fucking worked a lot. Just stressing out about work. And I got nothing.
It could be worse, man. It could be worse, which we're going to get into right now. This might actually be a quick show for you guys today, judging by our just energy happening right now. So let's get right into the news right now. Where are you, news button? There you are. All right, so this is the first topic we were going to talk about last week, but it ran out of time. And since Mark is in such a down mood, I'm actually going to bring up some people who have life worse off than him.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so a lot of people talking about this Fyre Festival. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So for you guys who've been living on a rock, the Fyre Festival was going to be this whole music festival happening in the Bahamas over the 2 weekends of Bahamas Islands in Great Eczema. 2 weeks they would have it the end of April, and I guess this week is supposed to happen too. And it was organized by Billy McFarland and also the great Ja Rule.
Oh man,
Allah!
It's murder.
Yes. So they put them in this concert. They had all these models endorsing it that they're gonna be there, and end up that the result is let's see what happened first. Okay, so the schedule for 2 weekends, like I said, the event sold out. Sold the tickets for $150. Wait, here it is, $1,500 for regular tickets, and the VIP package, including airfare, luxury tents, accommodations, was $12,000. We're gonna actually, Mark and I are kind of on the cheap side, because Mark, you went to see Local H last week, and would you ever consider spending anything like that for
$12,000
or even $1,500? No band you like that good, huh?
Yeah, even if the best band I've whatever, fucking Local H was playing the Bahamas, I'd be like, I'll get them when they come back around.
Yeah, because I was trying to actually, funny story, I'm trying to buy tickets for, my wife's a big Beatles fan, so I saw Paul McCartney's playing around our anniversary. When I saw tickets for Madison Square Garden were $300 a ticket, like I guess he's not singing.
Yep.
Oh well. So yeah, so you gotta be. If I won't even see them, I won't even see the Beatles for that much money. But it's and that's digging their corpses up and mimicking them and stuff like that. So customers were told they were going to be staying in modern, eco-friendly domes, stuff like that. Customers had been promised gourmet meals produced by celebrity chefs. So actually, the money for what's going into it, I don't think it's like I think it's worth it, but it depends on the lineup. So if they put all your favorite bands together, would you go then?
They put every band I love, on one bill, and then they were like, and you're going to stay in luxury accommodations, and Bobby Flay is going to suck your dick every morning. Paula Dean's going to cook you breakfast.
Make sure you're saying those racist things that you're cooking.
Like, we flip-flop those, but I don't know. I don't really.
You still wouldn't go.
I would not. No, I don't think. Yeah, there's really nothing that would lure me to like a remote island for. That just doesn't sound like fun to me. Like, oh man, I gotta fly to this fucking place, deal with all the bullshit of like customs and getting passports and all the hustle and bustle. I'm not a big hustle and bustle kind of guy,
Yeah, I can tell that you just don't like to do that kind of stuff.
Like, you know what? I spent all day yesterday in my apartment and did not leave for anything.
Yeah, you bring the bands to me. That's what Mark is saying.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, I'd pay $1,500 if they were going to play in my fucking living room. Definitely.
And even that is negotiable. So they had this all planned out, and then what happened is the first headlining act, they had the great and infamous Blink-182. They ended up pulling out of the whole thing like the weekend before. So it was just like, that's not showing good signs, even though all the organizers and all the papers are saying this is not going to work out. It's not organized correctly. Let's wait till next year when it can and put it out then. And like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. That's how Ja Rule talks, I'm assuming. So on April 27th, attendees began arriving on chartered flights from Miami to the Exuma International Airport. And initial arrivals were brought to the impromptu beach party. I'm guessing Frankie and whatever were doing their whole beach party thing that you see.
Oh, yeah. Frankie and Annette.
Yeah, they were playing there. Rather than going to the actual festival grounds where it's supposed to be, they brought them to this improv beach party to stall, obviously. And then eventually people that came later were actually brought to the festival where they saw the apparent true state of it. Then flights scheduled for the afternoon were delayed and then canceled when it became clear that the festival would not be going on as planned. And afterwards, it was announced that the festival would be postponed and then that the attendees would be returning to Miami as soon as possible. And reports emerged of mishandling of guest baggage, disaster relief tents, and dirty floors, porta potties. I don't mean to laugh at these rich people. I really hope those Rite-Aid kids actually get to go out there sometime. I just said the name of the place. That's where I work. I'm sorry. They had inadequate and poor quality food, including cheese sandwiches made with slices of processed cheese on wheat bread served in styrofoam containers. That's the luxury food they were talking about, apparently. People were getting their stuff stolen. They were robbed while they were out there, and they were trapped. Basically, this would be a great horror movie. You know, they should really do a documentary first, and then some, Hollywood, studio should want to capitalize it and make, some film.
Well, did you hear the Hollywood news about this?
Oh, there's more? Because all I got so far is that they ended up Ja Rule went on Twitter oh, it's not my fault, and then they had this whole apology thing, tried to get out of being sued, but they're in 3 fucking lawsuits for about $100 million right now that from all these different attorneys are representing 15, 16 thousand clients. So they're gonna be fucking paying a lot of money. But you heard something new after that?
Oh yeah, well after this festival totally bombed, Seth Rogen came out and announced that he's working on a movie with the Lonely Island guys about a music festival that goes awry and it falls apart just like this. So he was like, "Oh man, what are we gonna do now?"
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's not gonna make it. He's gonna make it more sensationalized than it really is. Have like, you know,
well, it's something like that where
Godzilla coming or something like that.
You're making a movie where it's like, oh yeah, this is crazy, this is funny, but then like something that happens in real life that mimics it, and it's like, all right, well now is your movie too tame? Because like, you know, depending upon what kind of stuff they put into the movie, it could be not even as bad as what happened at Fyre Festival.
Oh wait, I didn't catch you. So you're saying they had a movie already written before this happened?
Yeah, like they're working on it right now. Like they're already like,
I don't know if I believe that.
Working on it.
Okay.
You don't know if you believe it?
I don't know if they believe it because I wasn't. There's no way to prove that they were writing it before.
What do you mean? It's like in production.
Well, what's in production mean?
Meaning like they're making a fucking movie. Like you have to have a script way before you're doing anything about it.
Okay, I got you. I thought in production could mean that too.
No.
Okay.
Meaning like they're casting people. They've got the wheels are turning. The money is in place.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Seth Rogen. I guess I was wrong. You are doing this right now, and Neighbors 2 was actually a good movie. I'm sorry. I'll take that all back. I'll never say anything bad about your great stuff.
Yeah, shut the fuck up about Seth Rogen. All right, he's a good guy. All right, it seems like we'd be friends.
He knows he speaks your name just as much as you talk about him. So yeah, this whole thing. Actually, I wanted to say I'm actually on the opposite side of. They were comparing this thing to like the Lord of the Flies. This whole like Fyre Festival thing that happened. I'm actually on the other side of the fence because I'm really trying to, as much as people are going to make fun of me, I'm into 311 to the point where I would go, there's a lot of bands doing these like, you know, cruises and stuff like that. And as a Weezer fan, I thought you would at least jump for that because Weezer is one of the bands you like that does like cruises.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I'm sure it would be 1,500
There's something about being stuck somewhere with a bunch of people. Like I was talking about last week, you know, I went to this local 8 show, and there's that point where you realize, like, oh, these are the other people that like this music. I don't want to be associated with these people, you know. And I mean, you're gonna have that, especially like the people who can afford to go on a cruise to see their favorite band and like go blow off for a week, you know, to fucking hang out in the Caribbean with. I don't know, Mo. I don't know who was another one. You know, the string cheese incident.
Yes, showing how hip you are. Yeah, they're the ones that are breaking the top 10 right now.
Well, that's the bands.
Them and Toad the Wet Sprocket cruise. You know.
I mean, I've gone on boat shows before. The ones that like they just tour the Hudson and for a night. You know, and come back the same day.
Not too far, not too expensive.
Yeah, you know,
no customs.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I just wouldn't want to be stuck on a boat, especially like in that situation. You're like, oh man, like it's just gonna be idiots, like drunk assholes who just are there because they've heard, you know, the hit single. If it's a band that I really like, you know, that would piss me off. Of course, it's what always pisses me off. You know, you go to see these shows like Local H again. It's like, you know, you're like, oh man. They're playing all their fucking great songs, and then, of course, they play the one song that people knew from, like, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and that's the song that everyone fucking goes crazy over. And you're like, if you were a real fan, you'd know that they have better songs now.
Now you're going on a different rant, but the thing I'm saying is no one's going to pay for a cruise unless they're, like, diehard fans, because, like, in my case for 311, I can see them.
That's not true.
Yeah?
No fucking way. There's people who just want to go on a cruise, and they're like, I fucking like Weezer because I've heard the songs they play on the radio. I've got money to burn.
Okay.
Like, they're rich assholes who want to impress people, you know, like, or want to have fun. Yeah. I mean, fucking jerks wanting to have fun and seeing Weezer on a cruise. But like, I feel like there's just those people that are like, they've got money to burn.
Yeah, they want to get away from the winter and go on a cruise and just enjoy like the sunshine. What dicks? You know? I understand. We see. I'm really bad at sarcasm with you. Apparently, I can't even keep a straight face. But it's I don't know, because like with 311 in my case, it's like they play deep cuts when they play like their regular shows.
Okay, but if you go see 311 and they're playing fucking some grassroots shit and some fucking whatever,
nice pun. By
all of a sudden, doodle-doo-doo-doo, doodle-doo-doo-doo, yeah! The crowd goes wild. You're like, you weren't going half as crazy for the real shit.
That's when I segregate them out and I look for when I sing a B-side cut. and I look to see someone else singing a B-side cut, I'm like, that's my people. Those are the ones that deserve to be
That's what
here.
I'm saying, though.
I'm not going to push the ones on the boat.
You're up front.
Yeah.
You're up front, and there's all these, you're with all your B-side people.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Amber, the color of your energy comes on. All these fucking people take that opportunity to rush the stage and squeeze in front of you, and you're not going to be pissed?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So, all right, so it's not worth the finance. I see, but there's so much other things to do in that case. But in this case, it's kind of like with the Fyre Festival. I'm kind of like worried. It's a gamble, like going on these things, like when something like that goes down. But at the same time, this is a rare situation, like Woodstock '99, like Altamont, and this. That's basically it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's all the only time that things happen at concerts, except for the next story I have for you guys, which is a local story for us. I went to actually this venue a couple months ago, sorry, and Travis Scott heard just about the story at Terminal 5. A fan was hospitalized after a balcony fall from the venue, and basically what happens is at a show Travis Scott was playing, one of the fans broke his leg, and what happened is footage shared from the Terminal 5 concert shows that Scott addressed the fan hanging from the lower balcony, because there's three tiers at Terminal 5 for you guys out there. It's like a parking garage basically, but there's 3 levels, and then on the first level,
not really like a parking garage.
It feels like it what used to be a parking garage, but they turned it into a venue.
Okay,
but it's not. It's true. It used to be a dance. It used to be a nightclub, but now it's
kind of like a concert hall with a 3-layered balcony.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. I've never been to anything like that except for like if you imagine. I imagine it's kind of like a Electric Factory in Philly, but it's 3 floors.
It's 3,
yeah. So
it is similar to Electric Factory.
Yeah. So it's on the first tier. A fan was like hanging from the thing, and then Travis Scott addressed him he's like, "Are you gonna do it?" And he's like, you need to. I see you, but are you going to do it? They're gonna catch you. Don't be scared. Fall. So if you watch the footage, he just kind of falls down, so it's not like a big deal. But the thing that didn't catch is someone jumped from the third one to do a stage dive or a rafter dive from there, and so he broke his leg, and Travis Scott's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll visit you at the hospital." And then actually the venue itself said the safety of everyone is held in the highest regard, and we are currently conducting an investigation to ensure that this does not happen again. He told Billboard, the spokesperson for Terminal 5, and he said, "We are deeply concerned about the guest who was injured and intend to offer him our support." I don't know if that means paying his hospital bills or what. And the man's condition was not revealed, though TMZ reported one jumper broke his leg. So I'm just saying, what's interesting about that, because when I've been there, I'm like, you've seen on YouTube the top 10 stage dives ever, and I think number 1 is the band Boy Set Fire, where that guy climbed all the way to the top of the stage rafters and jumped that far. And I thought it's kind of funny, because I've always thought about I'm up there, I'm like, I should just jump down there, because it's so many people, they'll fucking catch me. But I never fucking thought that at a hip hop concert, because that does not happen at hip hop concerts. They're not trying to catch people. When someone jumps, the fucking Red Sea shit parts, and you'll hit the ground real quick. And that was what I was seeing in some of the footage happening when people were doing it. But the third fucking floor, that's what is that, 50 feet in the air, higher than that?
It's gotta be, yeah.
So you were talking last week, Mark, about how you hate the unetiquettes of concert goers, as you were saying a little bit earlier. Yeah. Is that something you kind of worry about when you go to shows like stage divers and crowd surfers, thing like that, or people jumping on that high?
I'm all for it.
You want to break your leg? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, whatever, man. I've been to some crazy shows, and
what was the craziest thing you saw at a concert, from the fans' point of view?
I'll say the one show I went to that surprised me, which may not be that surprising, it was the Dwarves. I went to see the Dwarves at the Knitting Factory before they moved, and I already knew what kind of show it was going to be, so I took a seat in the balcony real quick, which is, they have a real small balcony, so I was like, I got to get the fuck up there. I'm not fucking dealing with these people. but I like this band. So luckily I was able to get up there, and I was glad I did, because there's just a lot of, it's just, they're one of those bands, just like the people that go there, they're just people that just want to go there and like let their rage out and fucking slam into people and start punching people. And the band themselves kind of does this. So like people get on stage, anytime like someone gets on stage to stage dive, if they take more than 1 second to jump off the stage, the band will like start punching them and like beating them.
Yeah.
And then like if girls jump on stage, they just start groping them.
Okay.
Very classy cool band, yes. Yeah, I mean, we all know the dwarves are who they are, but
they basically make Gigi Allen like, yo, chill out.
Well, I don't know about that. Maybe not that far, but they're definitely in the same vein. And there was a point in the show where there was this one guy who kept trying to grab the bass player's bass guitar or something like that, or grabbed it. I don't even know what was happening. But this guy just kept like trying to like get on stage and like was pawing at him. And so the dude just came down and started punching him in the face, and then got off and then took the bass off and brought it into the crowd and like beat the guy with the bass guitar. The band stopped playing and left. Yeah. And there was pools of blood on the floor when like it cleared out.
Okay.
And there was like definite like there was 2 females I was with. They were down in the pit. And they were like, yeah, like there was a point where we realized like, oh, we thought like the floor was just wet with like sweat and gross beer and shit. And it was like red because there was just like people getting punched and fucking like knocking out teeth, and it was not a good time. Wow. So
that kind of puts that Newfound Glory concert went to the shame.
That was probably the most violent and abrupt ending to a show I've ever been to. But it was awesome. It was good. They got through most of the set, so I was happy. At
least that's all you can hope for. So they get most of the songs in. I'm trying to think, like, where have I seen? I guess I haven't been to enough concerts. I got to go to more, because I haven't seen anything that brutal before. I've seen bands leave the stage because they were in a hissy fit. I've seen people like get their nose broken by accident from like a circle pit, but never anything like that. And even like with the Travis Scott situation, I've contemplated jumping that far high, but I never seen it or done it before, because it's just like you look from I always think, like in your case too, Mark, I look at it now from both perspectives, especially now that I get close to the front and a crowd surfer does land on me and I'm not paying attention to my back, because I want to look at the stage. I don't want to keep looking behind me. So in this case, if I'm watching a band and I'm not expecting someone to come like 50 feet in the air and land on me. So I don't know. It's just I'm assuming this guy that broke his leg, obviously they weren't expecting him to jump, and he just did, because you can't.
Yeah, I mean that's one. I thought you were gonna say that he told the guy to jump and then he broke his leg.
The first guy, you watch the video. There's no possible way he broke his leg from that, because he hangs from the rafter and he like just drops down.
Drops,
and he's going feet first, so it's not like, it's basically just like he wanted to get down lower, so he did. So I was thinking to myself, when I went to see Run the Jewels like a couple months ago, and I was that far back, all I had to do was just climb up there and just jump down closer. Never thought about that. So I mean, that aspect I could have did that, but I was not jumping from the third one. But so that was the story there. Anything else you want to add before we get out of this? I think we'll get out of this. Now that's our news topics of the day. I'm seeing that I am running low on soda. Do you mind getting me another Coke can out of the refrigerator, Mark?
You're a motherfucker.
I love you too, Mark. I hate to make this guy work, He's such a hard worker. His one day off, I make him come here and do a podcast with me. The least he could do is not get up at all. So that's why I made him do something, actually. You see it? Thanks a lot, man. Thank you. Daddy needs his energy. So we got these albums reviewed, and I think one of these albums we're going to talk about, we're going to have to say a lot of details about. So how you guys doing out there, audience? Good. Please hold your applause for the end. What's up, Mark? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
That's good.
This fucking allergies or whatever's going on is kicking my ass.
All right, so we'll get to these quick then, since you're not feeling well. Anything to drink? You didn't bring your orange Julius.
I know, I forgot it. I was like in a rush to get over here.
I got water in the cabinet there if you want, or the fridge, not fridge, closet if you want some hot water.
Hot water, awesome. No, I'm good. I'm good for now.
Or if it's not hot enough, I could boil it for you while we're waiting. I heard hot water is good for, allergies and shit like that. All right, let's get to the notes here. Let's find out where we're at.
What are we doing first?
You know what? We got to get to the popular shit first.
I don't know what's popular about it.
Yeah. So you're doing your fucking, Strings Cheese instant, references. I guess you don't know what's famous nowadays. All right. Let's start off with the band The Gorillaz, or Gorillaz for all the cool kids. Their new album is called Humans with a Z. They're a British virtual band in the same vein as bands like Death Clock, or for all you older people out there, the Archies. If you remember them. The group was created by Blur vocalist Damon Albarn and artist Jamie Hewlett. And the animation members consist of 2D on lead vocals, Murdoch on bass, Noodle on guitar, and Russell Hobbs on drums. Their music has been classified as a mixture of alt-rock, electronica, and hip-hop, and they are known to have several well-known musicians on their albums. And the self-titled debut album was released in 2001, and it sold over 7 million copies, and it featured it's actually the Gorillaz' most successful virtual band. It made it the most successful virtual band thanks to the massive hit single Clint Eastwood, if you remember hearing that all over the place. The second album, called Demon Days, was also a big seller with the help of the songs like Feel Good Inc. and, of course, Dare. And that album saw the group collaborating with more artists than on the debut album. The third album, Plastic Beach, was labeled as a conceptual project that added elements of pop to their electronic funk and dubstep sound, while the fourth album, called The Fall, came out the following year and saw the group experiment with subgenres like folktronica, trip hop, and lo-fi. So they were, every album is what, when they asked Damon, he said he wants to have every album have a different sound. So I had no idea what to expect with this fifth album, because I've only heard the last two albums in completion, and I felt they were too experimental for my taste. However, Snarky Mark over here is a bigger fan than me, so what is your take on the group's discography, Mark?
I don't know it that well.
Okay.
You always assume this bullshit. And I'm like, where does my love of Gorillaz come in?
I just look at you, they thought you listened to their music.
I mean, I know the hits. I'd be the guy who'd be like, Clint Eastwood, yeah, feel good.
Okay. Well. So much for that. So we're both going into this as a novice, so that's good.
Pretty much.
The standard edition of this album has 20 tracks, and to me, it seemed like it was split into two parts. The first half is mostly bangers. Then after the track 11, which is called Busted in Blue, which has Damon singing melancholy ballad over an atmospheric ambient keyboard. Then the rest of the record, the really good songs become fewer and far between. To me, if you want me to give you examples, Mark, this is how I'll break it down. Here are the bangers from side A, I'll call it. You get A Session, which is the first song anyway. Very infectious techno club beat featuring rapper Vince Staple. Uses a catchy and somewhat overused hook. When the sky's falling, blah blah. He says it over and over. It's repetitive, but the music is really good on that song. Song Strobe Light. It's an R&B dance funk tune, similar to something you hear from Daft Punk, featuring a singer Pevin Everett's. It's got that whole dancey funk sound that Daft Punk does. And this would be a perfect summer single. Dance floors and cookouts won't know what fucking hit them if they play this song. They released this as a single.
With Strobe Light?
Yeah, amazing song. As a fan of the De La Soul, I love the song Moments, which has the group spitting their quirky lyrics over the alternative hip hop music mixed with hard hitting drum and bass. Love that song too. But one of my absolute favorite tracks is the song Submission, which mixes a funky club beat with the Ethiopian singer Kalila's angelic voice, and those fucking trippy noises throughout, and that rapper Danny Brown's crazy rhyming towards the The end of the song was the cherry on top. Bangers. What do you think?
I didn't know you're such a Miley Cyrus fan. Bangers. I'll say my first listen to this, I was really disappointed.
Okay.
Going forward. After I finished it, I went back to the beginning. Mm. And, you know, it was better the second time around. But to me, there's a certain expectation, and maybe this is because I'm a novice Gorillaz head.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like I felt like there's too many features. It's not like, it doesn't feel like there's a band and there's other people coming on. It feels like every song is different.
Yeah. Is
a different vibe.
Okay, so I see two things you're saying. One, you're saying this comes off as more as a compilation album.
Kind of,
and two, you're saying it's as opposed to like their first album and I would say maybe their fourth one, The Fall. This is more like putting the band in the back seat because you hardly hear them.
Yeah, and also it's like just the production is not. I don't know. There's something to me where it's like, well, if you're going to create this mythology and have this like this, you know, fake storyline about who the members are and there's this cartoon people, like, stick with that. Have it sound like there's a cartoon band playing, you know, like it just sounds like there's some DJs got together and made a bunch of beats and then you got a bunch of rappers to sing over it and then the dude from Blur, you know, warbled over some of them.
So when you say more cartoonish, you want to hear like anvils falling and stuff
No, I'm saying like you've got like they're cartoon characters is the band, you know, so like just like I don't know, like it doesn't, Gorillaz never felt like a band to me. Even though that's what they're supposed to be, according to their like origin story of and if you know whatever. So it's just this, and not knowing too much about what they've done the last probably 2 or 3 albums. I just kind of, my initial thoughts on it were like, there's not really too much consistency, which is not bad. I think this album is pretty good to just sort of like have on and not have to like think about a lot of it, because I feel like the worst feeling I had listening to this was just boredom sometimes.
Okay.
Some of it was just a little boring, and like there's this I don't know if you want to call it a movement. There's like a new electronic music style that I think is even more prevalent in the last couple tracks, and especially on the bonus tracks. If you heard the bonus version.
I'm actually going to get into those at the end of this review. Let's talk about the standard one first.
Well, but even something like Hallelujah Money,
okay,
which I know you've only gotten to the first half of the album, but like I'm just trying to look at the track listing and think about some of the songs, but like there's just this weird thing where it's like, okay, we made a little bit like a beat, it won't even change the whole song, it's just the same thing the whole song, and we're just gonna like not do anything that has any melody. We're just gonna kind of like talk, half sing over something. There's no hook, there's no like almost no melody. It's just nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
It gets boring to me.
Some of the songs are like that.
Yeah, and so like those songs I don't like. I've heard the name Danny Brown a bunch, but I don't know if I've ever actually heard him rap. And this made me go, I will never listen to this guy. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the way he does things.
Well, I mentioned him before when we reviewed the Run the Jewels album, because I never heard him either. Everyone's like, oh, that new Danny Brown album from last year, making everyone's top 10. So when I fucking heard his voice on that Run the Jewels album, I'm like, I was not expecting him to sound like this. But now that I know how he sounds, and when he came on, I was like, oh, he always sounds like that. And then I thought to myself, like, I understand why his people hate him on that track, because the song is very sensual, and then he comes in like with this like spastic rapping. It's really off-putting. But what I liked about it, I liked the whole contrast to that. It worked for me. And if people like my wife or whatever like that, when I play it for them, and then they're like, this is very cool. When he comes on, this, what the fuck is that? I totally get it. So it's fine.
Yeah, I would say I like Moments.
Moments, okay.
But my favorite song on the whole album, which maybe was just like, I think it's kind of another one of these songs where like there's something about it. Like the thing I like about Gorillaz in the past is that they, even when they have like slower songs, like they are geared towards having like a good melody or some sort of earworm quality. Even something like Clint Eastwood, which is like really like there's no. It's so weird. It's an unlikely lead single for a weird cartoon band, but the song is great.
Right.
And there's it's just this like whatever. So like anyway, the song Charger.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I fucking love that song.
I knew it.
It's so weird and good.
Charger for you guys out there is I have it too. It's like it's got the androgynous Grace Jones, aka Mayday from the movie A View to a Kill, aka Helen Strange from the movie Boomerang, and she's this weird like crazy 70s like black female artist, and that song is kind of repetitive and it gets old quick to me, but it's like kind of it's really you liked it instantaneously or
I liked it. Yeah. It's because it's one of those things where I sit here a lot of times and I give these criticisms where I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm being hypocritical because like one band I'll say, well, there's got to be like some sort of melody and there's got to be some kind of hook because otherwise like what the fuck are you talking about? And then there's songs like this where I'm like there's really like no hook, it's just same thing over and over again. It can get repetitive, but I like it.
Okay.
So like it's one of those things where I go, well, you can do it well. If you can do it well, then do it. But if not, then like have something else there for me.
I thought like for that song it was it's very experimental as what you're expecting from them. It's not a single at all. It's not going to be all radio, but it's interesting, I'll say. And I think it's in the first half of the album, like I said, so I think it's good. I'm not much of a reggae guy, but I think that the single that they put out, Saturn Bars, is pretty good. But then when we get after that and the song I mentioned, for me, I feel like the second half, the hits were like the next song I heard that I liked was a song called "She's My Collar," which suffers from what you were talking about. It's very like repetitive beat.
Yeah.
But I think like it's like track 17, so it's like you have to wait till then, and it's like I think like the issue for me is if you don't count the interludes, the 3 songs before just regurgitate the sound that we've heard from them before, from this first half or from other albums. So there's nothing special happening, I think. And even though She's My Collar isn't very unique, that beat and those like descending keys notes, I thought they went hard. The last track on the standard album, which is called We Got the Power, is an energetic synth pop track full of like positivity and booming beats, sure to have ravers waving their glow sticks and losing their minds faster than the effects of a Molly pill. Let's go into like the bonus track you were talking about. So just in case like you guys, I felt the same way as Mark. I was underwhelmed. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go further. Maybe they'll bring up my rating if I listen to the bonus tracks to find out if the reason these songs were cut for time or cut for lack of quality. And it features 5 extra songs. And one of the songs that I thought was interesting was Halfway to the Halfway House. Brings like Pevin Everett to sing his uplifting soulful vocals. He comes back over a groovy house beat. I thought the song was okay. I don't know what you thought, Mark.
The only one out of the bonus ones I really thought was okay was The Apprentice. I thought it was pretty good. It felt like they kind of got staler as they went on.
Why didn't you like Out of Body? I thought that song was great.
I wasn't a fan. I thought it all ended really poorly with Circle of Friends.
It did. That was like, the worst one.
It's like the same. It's like what I was talking about. The same thing. Like last week with when I was my criticism of Kendrick. There's like this trend of like we're just gonna repeat the same thing over and over again, and that's gonna qualify as us making a song.
Well, that song is an example of a lack of quality. That's why it's on the B sides or the deluxe version. Out of Body, I thought was that whole like phone dial touch tone thing happening, and then that girl was rapping that 90s house style beat. I thought that was weird and cool.
I don't know. There's a lot of like 90s sounding like beats on this that just threw me to this place where I'm like, this does not. It's like old Grace Jones stuff. It's like this like weird like you could picture them dancing on the grind. And you're like, okay, is this where we're back at again?
Yeah,
because we're making this like
that's what's happening nowadays. This whole retro movement happening.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of people are having their their criticism of the record, but for me, I thought like I had my complaints. This album is very enjoyable for the most part, and the music has a pretty unique and experimental sound, but it's very accessible for like the mainstream if that's what they're trying to go for. I think like a lot of songs on here are like ravers will like it. You know, your grandpappy will like it. You know, even the kids that listen like the regular will like it too. And even though I haven't heard all of the Gorillaz albums, I'm betting my left testicle that this is not their best album.
However, take it.
However, this style of pop and dance music is just what we need for this like troubling times, because apparently the whole theme of this album is like he told artists like Damon was like, oh, when you write a song, imagine if Donald Trump won the presidency. So that if you actually listen to the lyrics or read into them, there's like about this dystopian time we're living in, and everyone's like, oh, let's just party, let's just live it up. So putting all that in this perspective and the fact that I liked more songs than I didn't, I'm going to say, you know, it's worth the money. So I'm saying you guys can go out and buy it. It's worth it. Mark?
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about my favorite song, in addition to Charger, is Interlude, The Elephant?
Okay. What did that was like, what, 20 seconds?
Yeah, not even 10 seconds. It's real stupid. That's the thing with this is I feel like Gorillaz, they try to be more than they are on the albums. And so, which is cool because you get like these weird short films they do, and they do cool music videos, and there's cool artwork and yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't always work for me on a record. You know, like there's these interludes and you're like, what does this mean? And like sometimes there's like talking and you're like, so what is that?
Well, the interlude meant the elevator's going up. That's what it meant. The elevator's going up and it goes up.
But like, why waste a track on that? You know, that's my thing. It's like, why are we wasting our time? Or just put it as part of the song. Like,
good point.
You don't have to separate a track out to be like, the elephant blows out confetti from its trunk or something, and that was the end of it. And you're like, what are we even talking about? So, you know, it's kind of weird. I kind of like that. It's weird. And, you know, the first time around, I was kind of just like, this is like kind of like more of a mixtape, and it's not cohesive. But I feel like the total package of it is better than like if picking out individual songs.
Right.
So I really think this is a good album to like just have on at a party or something like that. You know,
exactly.
It's not. To me, it's not an album that needs to be like looked at under a microscope and have each song, you know, analyzed, like we just did. But you know. So I whatever. I thought overall it's pretty good. It's got some good songs. They're not all great, and some of them are kind of boring. But you can have it on the background. Nobody's gonna be offended. I say download it.
Okay, this is what we're doing now. You're just gonna say something lower than me every time we rate something. All right,
this is the first fucking fuck you.
Let's mess with you, dude. Let us know what you think in the comment section if you heard a new Gorillaz album and what you think of it. If you liked it or hated it. And also, if you want to tell us what your rating would be as well, we appreciate that. I'm just messing with you.
I got you a Coke.
I left my Coke, man. Bobby got me some Coke. I can bring them to you.
Teaching the world to sing, motherfucker.
They want their detonators, or they're going to kill me. Got to do my Die Hard references when I can.
There you go.
Ellis, I don't know you, man. Tell them you don't know me.
Bubby.
John. I don't know what's going to happen next. All right, so so what's interesting about that is like this album was supposed to be like fucking changing like the whole like spectrum of music, and they kind of dropped the ball because they have to do nothing but masterpieces when it's talking Gorillaz.
Yeah.
About how much people talk about them, but maybe it's tough, you know. It's hard to like, you know, live up to the expectations of every album. And actually, what's good about this record, I thought, is I actually want to actually listen to the first two that everyone says is their best work. Mm-hmm. You know, so
I just want to listen to Charger over and over again.
Yeah. Jesus, man.
Cha cha cha. It's so weird. Yeah. I love how weird it is because it's catchy without actually being catchy.
She was the perfect person to get on that track too. Like Grace Jones, everything like that. So it's crazy how she's like in her 70s now, and she still seems like just as wacky as she was when she did Demolition Man back in the 80s.
She wrote a book that I kind of wanted to check out. I heard her talking about it on the radio at one point. seemed like she's got some crazy fucking stories to tell.
You were talking before, like I want to ask. I forgot to ask this, but we won't include it in the actual video of this the review. But did you feel like the features were like seamlessly together, or did you feel like the tracks were like sent to someone and they relayed their vocals and then sent back? You know, did you feel like they did a song together?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the way that these songs are laid out though is that it doesn't matter. Like they don't feel. It all feels kind of separated.
Yeah,
so like there's not like, but it doesn't. I didn't think it hurt it because I feel like everything is kind of. It doesn't feel like a band. It feels like a mixtape. So like it doesn't really matter that there's like, you know, like a rapper comes on, sings one verse, and you never hear from him again. Yeah, it kind of all works because it is this sort of collage feeling to the whole album. You know, so I felt like. That was a like it's different when it's a rap album and like the rapper's got a new, and he's singing about this song is about my mama, and then all of a sudden some other guy just starts rapping about fast cars and money, and then you're like, where did that come from?
Did you listen to the song first before you did your verse? I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and this also like you kind of go into a Gorillaz album knowing what it is, like nobody, I mean, unless they live under a rock, nobody's like, what is this band that I'm going to pick up? It's like, that it's this weird side project with like a bunch of different collaborators. And that's why it is thought of as being, good because a lot of the kind of shit can go south really, easily. Yeah. So I think that's sort of its strength is that you can it gets a pass on being a little scattered because it is this kind of just like a successful mishmash of like a bunch of different people trying to do one thing.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we're going to move along right now. How you guys doing out there? It's so weird when it comes to audiences that when you ask them how they're doing, the reaction is, whoa! So they're like, fine. Everyone in unison should say that when you go to concerts. All right, next review we got here is the band New Found Glory. Their album is called Makes Me Sick. And they are a pop-punk band from Coral Spring, Florida, who formed in 1997 and are considered to be the pioneers of the pop-punk revival of the late 90s. One of them, anyway. After the release of their debut album, Nothing Gold Can Stay, the band signed to Drive-Thru Records and released their self-titled album, which catapulted them into the mainstream punk scene. And the album Sticks and Stones in 2002, which debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, is a popular, album as well from them, as you can see. And over the years, the band continued to headline tours and play festivals like the Warped Tour and open for like one of the most popular punk bands ever, Green Day. And then on their 6th album, Not Without a Fight, was released on Epitaph Records and produced by Mark Hoppus of the band Blink-182. But then after the 7th album, Radio Surgery, rhythm guitarist Steve Klein left the band due to charges of multiple counts of inappropriate contact with a minor. For the first time in 16 years, New Found Glory went from a 5-piece to a 4-piece band. And it's been 3 years since their last album, Resurrection, which was released on Hopeless Records, similar to this latest album now, which is their 9th album.
Wow.
This been, have you followed New Found Glories over the years?
Not at all.
This is going to be interesting with me. So even after 20 years, New Found Glory fans have been loyal to the group by still buying their albums and going to their concerts despite the fact that they may be a little too old for singer Jordan Puddick's whiny voice and lyrics about heartbreak and borderline teen angst. But what helps to keep their fan base co-ed is the band's ability to blend poppy lyrics and melodies with fast-paced tempos, hardcore breakdowns, and gang vocals. All that said, I found that this latest album, the band has a more mature mid-tempo sound with heavier use of organs and keyboards, if you notice that. And it's also apparent in the lyrics as well, like on the song which starts off the album, Your Jokes Aren't Funny. They are trying to move on from their like juvenile acquaintances, so that I see a maturity slightly in the lyrics. Mm-hmm. I'll get this out the way right now. I think like the song "Party on Apocalypse" is great. It sounds like a cross between like their older stuff and like stuff you would hear from the punk band Goldfinger. Plus that bass line on that song, I thought was pretty cool too. If you want me to say some more stuff, 2 decades later, it's been 2 decades, like I said, and Jordan still has his like spiteful lyrics, which can be heard on the song like "Happy Being Miserable." However, I feel like on a positive note, he is like trying to distance himself from like the negative people. That's what the point of the song is. So how are you going? How are you feeling about this album? Like,
I can tell you right now, I've listened to this twice, and looking at the track listing right now, I can't tell you what any of these songs are.
Yeah. So it all sounds the same to you?
It's the same shit, yeah. And it also, I mean, the positive thing I can say is that New Found Glory has a sound. They sound like New Found Glory. They have the same kind of chugga chugga, and they've kept that consistently since 2001 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever branched out on any of the other albums, if there's other kinds of stuff, but my biggest complaint is I feel like a band like this, they have this fan base that is loyal because they're kind of doing the same thing. But I feel like they've gotten away from like being, it's like either grow up and make songs that are a little bit more grown up, or just stick with what you're doing, but like don't fuck it up.
Right.
And I feel like with this album, like none of the songs, like I said, they all kind of blur together for me.
Well, I felt like eventually, because I was liking it halfway through, I'm like, not liking it, I'm like, it's the same thing they always do. Then they do actually change, because the one song I was going to mention is called "The Sound of Two Voices." It's got this like whole upbeat calypso, it's like sunshine vibe, and it was kind of weird, but there are traces of the band's history in it. So I feel like this album, they're trying to go for like not only adding like the keyboards and stuff like in the background of some songs, but that song itself, they were trying to be like more like.
That's what I was gonna say. Is the keyboard?
Yeah.
Annoyed the fuck out of me, because I'm like, you don't need it.
Hmm.
I feel like they, I don't know. It just feels like the songwriting isn't like as good as it could be, and I feel like every song is all just like the same. It's either like, I love you, but you don't want me, or you love me and I'm trying to break up with you.
But my friends are better than you. I only choose you other than my friends. Things like that.
A lot of it is similar, kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, this was fine when you guys were 20, but like I don't buy it anymore. Like it feels like you're trying to play to your audience, but your audience, like, okay, there's a guy I work with. He's got a daughter who's 17 or 18. She dragged him to go see New Found Glory. And I'm like, all right, yeah, because she's the age range that
their music's going for.
Like, it still appeals to them because it still appealed to 17-year-olds, 15 years ago, and it appeals to 17-year-olds now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess that's the decision that they've made, is like, we're just going to stick with the same plan. We're not going to change, and it'll at least keep an audience for us.
Yeah, because if they start singing about mortgages and stuff like that, people are going to be like, oh my God.
Not even mortgages, but like, I don't know. Like, when was the last time that you hung out at the mall on a Friday night? And there's some song where they're talking about that or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't believe that you have these feelings. Now, maybe you did at one point, but like, where's the statute of limitations on writing songs about what you felt like when you were, 15 years old?
Yeah. I feel like my problem with the band is like, especially on this album, like songs like Blurred Vision, like what Mark is saying, like he don't buy the lyrics, but I feel like the lyrics, I don't buy them either, because this whole giving up on love, it's way too sappy, and it like brings down like the optimism of certain songs. If that's what they're trying to go for, like on that song anyway, I guess I understand. Like they want to have a upbeat song and like heart wrenching lyrics, but his lyrics that he writes are just too like sappy. And what hurts the album for the most part is that when a song comes off too mellow or bland, like the metaphoric lyrics that he uses like are revealed to be cheesy. Like my best example for that is a song called Barbed Wire. It's about them being thick-skinned like barbed wire. And it's like, okay, like I wouldn't have noticed that if the music was actually better.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the band really shines when they play like upbeat, melodic, like pop punk hardcore. Like on this album, for example, the song called "Say It, Don't Spray It," or even a closing track, the cheapest thrill. I thought that was like when they're at their best from what they do, because the song is like energetic and fast and upbeat. I don't even know what the fuck he was talking about, but that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, like them blending like the two different genres that they were doing is pretty much what put them on the map and separates them from like the other boring pop punk bands of today. I actually think, like Mark, you might not have much more to say to this, but I want to say like I think, but what's best is you go first and tell me like your final rating. Unless you have any songs that you noticed that you hated more than liked.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it all really blended. Like I said, it's a short album. You know, it's only a half hour or so. So I listened to
only
it twice.
10 tracks too.
And I was like, I don't know what any, like I had to try to remind myself of what each song was and go back and try to listen to it. I'm like, these are all like, none of them stick out to me. Like it's not like, oh, there's some of the songs are okay. Some of them are not good. There's a couple of really great songs. Like I didn't feel like there was any great song on this album.
Right.
And in addition, like I said, I felt like you don't need that keyboard in there. Like you guys are a fucking band. You've got two guitarists, a bass, a guitar, singer. Like just be that band. Like you don't need like, I feel like bands like this are trying to go the way that Green Day went. And I feel like Green Day pulled it off with some success because they hit at the right time. It was sort of a perfect storm to bring them back into the spotlight.
Yeah.
And they had the songs to back it up. And this, I felt like now whatever. I'm surprised they have 9 albums. So, I don't know 7 of those probably, there's maybe the first 2, the earlier ones I had heard back in the day, but I've never been a fan of these guys. But I'll say that I used to really think that he had an interesting voice. I like the nasally kind of, whatever he had, bratty sort of sounding voice. I feel like his voice is like overly processed on this. Like it feels too fake. Like he's trying to make his they're using Pro Tools to try to make his voice sound like it used to by like enhancing it and doing these weird things to it. But it just kind of sounds tinny and like overly done.
Okay.
It doesn't always come out like it sounds like he's trying to sound like he used to sound.
Okay.
So all that being said, I feel like you can skip it. I would say skip this. If you've heard Newfound Glory before, their other stuff is probably better. Sad to say, but I feel like a band that's 9 albums into their career maybe could like grow a little bit.
Yeah, I see what Mark's saying. You probably already heard everything they could do before, so why have this one? Now, for me, honestly, I think Newfound Glory have come a long way since that time I was at that party back in 2001, where I was threatening to kill everybody there if they put on that self-titled CD. Needless to say, they did not listen to me, but I like to think they're in a better place now. So, does this album live up to to its name? No, it didn't make me sick listening to it. I didn't find it too painful. There were a couple of enjoyable songs, and the ones I wasn't feeling the ones I wasn't feeling were too tolerable. They were tolerable to listen to, I should say. I will also give the credit for adding a lot of synth keys to some tracks, as opposed to what Mark's saying. Kind of gives like a whole 80s like vibe, yet still makes it sound like Newfound Glory to the core fans. But by sacrificing the faster hardcore punk style, they now sound like all the modern bands that they inspired, like Man Overboard and the Wonder Years. And I feel that hurts the quality of their record. But the diehard fans will still be satisfied, and I doubt this album will have their fan base grow at all in size as opposed to just growing in age. So I say you can probably just download this album. It's okay. It's not their best work, but let us know what you think in the comment section if you heard the new Newfound Glory album, what you think of it, and let us know what you would give it if you want to rate it.
So is that all you're going to do is I'm just going to give a rating and you're going to give me one above it?
I feel like that's what's happening, dude. It's like I give a rating, you give it a higher one. All right. Sorry about that, you guys. I must have hit the button to make it too low, but that's okay. That's why I was kind of like, why does my voice sound weird? But it's because I don't know. I must have lowered it real quick. But it's not like I'm purposely doing that. I already knew that I was going to give it a download. It's not like it bothers me. You just don't care to hear it anymore. I'm just like, well, it was on. It's okay. If it's not, I'm not going to be mad about it. It's just whatever. What?
Nothing.
Okay. Let me get another one of these egg rolls, and we'll get to the final review here.
Yeah, this is open.
Oh, this one's open. I can't tell with my bifocals on.
You got bifocals?
Mm-hmm. My spectacles.
I've got trifocals.
Sorry to be chewing on the mic, you guys. Those are some good egg rolls.
Yeah, they're very different. I like them.
All right.
What are these?
Test.
These Vietnamese.
There we go. Get some volume here. Guys need to hear our voice for this final review here. All right. All That Remains is the last review by the band All That Remains. Their album is called Madness, and they're a metalcore band from Massachusetts that formed in 1998, led by singer Philip Labonte, who originally sang for the group Shadow Falls. Their debut album, Behind Silence and Solitude, came out in 2002 and had a more like death metal influence as opposed to the melodic metalcore sound the group embraced on subsequent records. Over the years, the band has gone through a few lineup changes. As of now, Labonte and lead guitarist Oily Herbert, I don't know if it's are the only founding members. Did I say his name wrong?
Oily?
It's O-L-E. O-L-I. It's Oily, right?
Ollie?
Ollie? Okay.
I don't know. I wouldn't call him Oily.
Well, all right. Sorry, Ollie. This latest album is their band's 8th record. And what I really enjoyed about this album, listening to it, is how excited I was to know Mark was going to rip this album apart by how lifeless and dull it sounds.
That's fucking horrible.
I was like, I'm risking this, putting my neck out, but I'm listening to something I'm knowing. Because the first track that starts the album off is, they don't waste any time with the blast beats. They're just like, right away, blast beats. I'm like, Mark's going to hate this shit. And it's the lead song is called Safe House. And to call the song generic is an understatement.
It's so fucking stupid. Let me tell you, if you want to have a laugh, listen to this album while reading the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did, and this album is just full of just terrible fucking lyrics.
That song, for example, that's called This Is My Safe House, Do You Feel Safe Now? I'm like, was this song written for a Grand Theft Auto soundtrack? I'm expecting him to say, like, Gotta steal a car. I've got five stars. You know, it's just like, man.
It's pretty it's
welcome to my safe house. Are you safe now?
It's like, yeah, it's so let me just right off the bat, out the gate,
yeah.
This album starts with this Cookie Monster screaming, murder song. And so I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I expected this band to be.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about All That Remains. But I'm like, okay, I'm assuming they're this kind of band. They're blast beats, they're fucking Cookie Monster vocals, they're, I'm going to have to grit and bear it.
But surprisingly, this band had some guitar solos too.
Yeah, no, there are a few, and a few real weak-ass ones.
Right. I thought the guitar solos, like, even though it adds some depth to the metalcore sound, they're really like haphazardly added in, like crowbarred, so it's like it's not authentic or at all flowing into the song. Yeah.
But so the first song is this, I mean, it's real dumb, but at least it's like, okay, there are gonna be songs about killing people and fucking come into my murder house. It's like basically the song sort of outlines like a Home Alone-esque type house where it's like, you're a little closer, now keep coming and I'm going to fucking stab you in the throat. Welcome to our channel. But then it automatically shifts and never goes back to that sort of song.
Right.
There's no other song like this first song on the album. Like, such a weird mindfuck.
Yeah.
That I actually had to go back and like try to re-listen to some of it without re-listening to that song. Because I realized that going through the album, I was just judging it based on like any day now, like the next song, they're gonna go back to that fucking stupid rah, rah, rah.
Right.
So like my expectations were off, I feel like, throughout the album. So I went back and gave it some more time.
Well, I felt like what's funny about what you're saying is the band made some changes, like similar to like the Suicide Silence album we reviewed like a few weeks ago. Like All That Remains figured it would be a good idea to evolve their sound, like because their fans will love that. So when they asked Phil Labonte, he said, "We want to mix things up a little bit, right from a vocal perspective this time. In other words, we're trying to copy Stone Sour." So which I feel like the alternative metal like song like Nothing I Can Do sounds like it's got that new metal like intro, like the crunchy guitars that contrasts the quiet like vocals during the melodic verses. Also, you get like that program beats mixed in with like the chugga breakdowns. It's like total Slipknot moment right there. The band pushes the like how much stripe can you take envelope with some alternative rock ballads too. That's what you're probably talking about, Mark. Like
there's that too.
The
Yeah, I mean,
stuff.
There's a couple things throughout this album that bothered the shit out of me, and certain songs I felt like were actually. They would be okay if I wasn't paying attention to them. Like this would have flown by without really any thought. But like because I was reading the lyrics along, I just noticed a real consistent theme where like almost every song on this album, there's like 2 verses that are written, and then it's just the chorus,
right?
Like repeated 6 times.
Hold on a second, we gotta. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, Snarky Mark here. As you may be able to hear, we had some technical difficulties on this past episode. During our All That Remains review, our battery started dying, unbeknownst to us exactly. So, just to recap, me and Jarrell both gave this All That Remains review or album a skip it, so you can go ahead and just fucking forget about it. But as we move on, I'm here to tell you to go to our website, www.njhybridradio.net. Go to our contact section and send us any questions or comments you may have, whether you agree, disagree, or just plain don't care. Send it us. We can read it on the next episode, and I'll probably tell you to shut the fuck up. You can send it to direct email, njhybridradio@gmail.com. So you can send us your emails to that email address. You can also check out our Facebook page. Facebook page, facebook.com/njhybridradio. Go on there, like us, follow us. We'll keep you updated for new episodes, concert reviews we do, puppet shows. We'll send you nude photos, all that shit. Search us out on YouTube, search in Hybrid. Go on YouTube, search Hybrid Radio Podcast. It's probably the easiest way to find us. Watch our videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, suck our dicks. We're also on Twitter. Follow us. It's with the @ symbol because it's Twitter, @NJ Hybrid Radio. And that's all of my obligations for you. So for me and Jarrell, good night, good luck, and have a pleasant tomorrow. Go fuck yourself. Bye.